I'm dealing with shit. I'm dealing with shit. You know what hurt me the most? I'm dealing with who knew they daddy worth $300-something million, bro. My mama and dad ain't never been worth $10,000. I did all this. Robbed, killed, stole, deceived, fought, died, lied, just to be right. Nigga, you got me fucked up.
I'm dealing with something wild right now. This man was just on live crying his eyes out, and the next minute footage of him and J. Prince Jr. throwing hands is everywhere. But what the blog's not putting you onto is way deeper. A family sitting on hundreds of EMS, allegedly twisting their own blood into an opponent and leaving him boxed in with no real way out. Picture this. As you're watching this, a clip is flooding every platform, and the whole hip-hop world is in shock.
And I told him the only reading he should have been doing is to reading that contract from Mob Tie. Can't call me out on my education when you just sat right there and turned yourself into a slave, buddy.
You read your own contract before signing the life away.
Didn't take a rocket science to figure out there was a bad contract. We grow up watching these rappers sign bad contracts. How the world do we sign one? Help me understand. You just said proved to be a bad contract. You can't, see the problem with Finesse is, you can't come over here and try to make me illiterate. However you pronounce it, at least I can comprehend. See, you reading. If that can read, he reading. What's the purpose of reading if you can't comprehend? I rather comprehend than know how to read.
The footage shows Finesse2Tymes and J. Prince Jr., two dudes who were supposed to be stacking bread together as business partners, now locked in a physical fight that erased any chance of them ever getting back on the same page. And this moment didn't come out of nowhere. The tension been building for years. Every run-in between them felt like the streets were waiting for something to crack. From 2023 through 2025, clips surfaced showing dice sessions going left, affiliates grabbing chains.
I was in a shoe, and when I used to rap on the dough and shit, and it's like, man, you know Honeycomb from Alabama? I'm like, nah, man, but you like the third nigga. They didn't see it like Honeycomb from Alabama. They're like, yeah, man, check him out when you get out. Ooh, you get out, man, he hard, man. You will really like him, man. You mind me so much, huh? Y'all just like, you know. So when I got to Atlanta, Jail House, they had phones. So I was seeing it. So this the Honeycomb nigga they was talking about. So I reached out to him, like he with me. So I reached out, I seen it. You know what I'm saying? My guys and shit, they were like, bro, what you like, he always posting shit.
Arguments turning so heated they almost sparked a real street-level conflict. Every incident was like a warning that people could see coming but couldn't stop from spreading. In 2024, it even got so serious that OG Boo Dirty had to step between them just to keep everything from blowing up completely. Every encounter made the situation clearer than daylight, but nothing slowed down. And now, with this latest footage hitting timelines, the whole story has spilled out and exposed the deeper issue behind all of it.
So I reached out, we chopped it up, and it was what it was. And like I said, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro fuck with me in jail. Bro fuck with me in jail. I ain't gonna never put no cap it out, bro. Like it is what it is. Christian with me like my man, but he on the phone, he want me to Zelle. I don't even know what the Zelle is. I don't know what, it's like, he like, but can you go and send it now? And when I wasn't able to do it, when he wanted me to do it, it became a show. So it wasn't like I didn't want to do it.
But here's the part most people don't know. To understand why this clip is shaking the culture, why this ain't just two celebrities scrapping, you gotta rewind everything. You gotta go back to the moment the contract got signed, the deal that flipped what should have been a fresh start into something that felt more like a trap. So let's run it back to the summer of 2022. Ricky Hampton Jr., known everywhere as Finesse2Tymes, had just come home after nearly 4 years in the feds.
What's weird is, yeah, you had the situation where Honeycomb Brazy was saying mob ties. He was like, and he was staying loyal to Finesse2Tymes while he was locked up. And he turned down the bag for Moneybagg Yo, like you said, right? But then Finesse2Tymes, one of his first videos is with Moneybagg Yo when he got out, which is an odd look, man.
He got 4 deals. But when you sign, that means your attention is to You hyena, you just fiending at the mouth for some green, some money. Now, your problem gonna be Finesse. Now, it ain't gonna even excite you no more. Your life gonna be miserable because guess what?
It's a lot going on down there in Houston. The club scene's been torn apart.
Trafficking heroin, you'd be happy to get me caught up.
That mean I'm a snitch? No, idiot.
But you just snitched on him, right?
How?
Well, I guess snitching on alleged snitching.
How?
You just made it sound as if like
He was finishing time for a firearms possession case tied to a 2017 nightclub situation in Forest City, Arkansas, where reports claimed he allegedly let off an AK-style weapon. He walked out ready to rebuild, thinking he could turn the page and move forward. What he didn't realize was that the opportunities waiting for him were wrapped in paperwork that would tighten around him later, turning business into tension and tension into the chaos we're seeing now. He copped out, took the 5, handled his time like a soldier, and when he finally touched back down, the entire music world was waiting to see what his next move would be. And what happened next looked, at least from the outside, like something straight out of a movie. J. Prince Jr., the head figure of Mob Ties Records, personally pulled up on Finesse with a private jet, handed him a heavy chain, and treated him like royalty. The whole rollout looked like the start of a legendary chapter, like every struggle he went through was finally about to flip into something major. And Mob Ties wasn't just some random new label trying to make noise. Mob Ties was directly connected to Rap-A-Lot Records, the Houston powerhouse J. Prince Sr., built back in 1986. The same institution that launched the Ghetto Boys, Scarface, and Bun B of UGK, shaping Southern hip-hop in a way that still hits today. So when Finesse put his signature on that contract, he wasn't just teaming up with some beginner operation. He was stepping into an empire with almost 40 years of history, an empire known for respect and pressure in every corner of the industry. But this is where the story takes a hard turn. The moment that contract came into the light, it became clear the dream had a dark side. According to a leaked document that a platform called Rap Intel dropped in January 2026, the deal was structured so aggressively that industry vets and legal minds were calling it straight-up predatory. The breakdown reportedly gave Finesse 35%, Mob Ties another 35%, and the remaining 30% went to J. Prince Entertainment, known as JPE. And this wasn't only touching album revenue. This split stretched into foreign royalties, merch, tour money, ancillary rights, basically every dollar Finesse could make with his name. If he created it, performed it, or promoted it, the money was sliced up before he ever saw it. But the part that really had people talking when it leaked was the control clause. JPE held full managerial say-so over every business decision. So even though the partnership was supposed to let Finesse shine creatively, the power behind the scenes stayed locked tight in the hands of the Prince family. Every move that mattered, every major choice, every business step had to pass through them, leaving Finesse with the title of star, but none of the actual control. In viral live streams from January 2026, the Memphis rapper broke down completely in front of thousands, tears running down his face while he explained how he had put together 2 full projects with almost no push from the label, dropped 10 to 15 racks of his own money on every music video, and watched big show offers get rejected by Mob Ties. These were deals that could have shifted everything for him, and he had to go chase independent options that might have brought in 10 to 20 million on the table. This was a grown man pushed to his limit, and the entire world saw it happen in real time. Then he finally opened up about what was really tearing him apart, something deeper than any paperwork ever could. He said, "You know what hurt me the most," and you could hear the pain in his voice before anything else. What came next put the whole power dynamic into sharp focus. He repeated, "I'm dealing with," and the weight behind those words said everything. Let that sink in. He was talking about the people who had full control over his career, the ones who held the keys to his music, describing them as folks who were born into generational wealth. And he put that next to his own life. That difference right there, the distance between someone sitting on 300 million and someone scraping together 10,000, summed up the whole situation. The more he talked, the more the desperation showed. He laid out everything he sacrificed to get where he was. This was a man who came from the bottom, survived multiple prison stretches, risked his freedom and his body to build something real, only to find out the people steering his career were kids of a powerful family with a financial runway he never had. A family whose father sits on a fortune that some reports call 300 million. And the Prince family has a long history of people speaking on this type of treatment. Artists like Zero have publicly talked about how things went for them under the Rap-A-Lot umbrella. The street's been whispering for years about what folks call insurance policies and quiet pressure moves tied to their name. The internet stays filled with warnings that stepping against the Princes could bring real fallout, and the memes floating around barely hide the actual fear that has been sitting in hip-hop circles for decades. Finesse even said he was willing to drop 5 full albums just to earn his freedom from the contract. The fact he was ready to hand over that much work just to escape showed exactly how heavy the situation had become. He started calling out J. Prince Jr. directly, accusing him of avoiding real talks, setting up fake meetings, and spending money on personal luxuries, while his own artist was struggling just to keep the lights on. At 33, with 10 kids depending on him, Finesse was carrying a weight that kept getting heavier, and the breakdown made it clear he couldn't hold it in anymore. Lil Woody had already spoken on Vlad TV about how wild the whole situation looked from the outside, and he didn't sugarcoat anything. He went straight at Finesse for not doing the one thing that could have protected him from all of this, and Woody didn't stop there. He flipped the now infamous reading contest jab right back at Finesse, dropping one of the coldest lines anybody delivered in an interview this year. Then he pushed it even further, breaking down how obvious the warning signs were for anybody who ever dealt with the streets. Woody made it plain that the contract was so clearly off that you didn't need any advanced schooling to understand what was wrong with it. And then he asked the one question people been repeating since this whole saga started, a question nobody has been able to answer in a way that makes sense. Woody was talking with precision, no doubt, and what he said cut straight to the core of the situation. That contract was the blueprint for everything that went wrong, the trap that set the rest of the story in motion. And that is exactly why when you watch that footage of Finesse2Tymes and J. Prince Jr. swinging on each other, you are not looking at two dudes who just had a heated moment. You are watching the explosion of a partnership built on pressure, broken trust, and a list of promises that never came through. If the contract was the sickness, then what happened next was the infection spreading through every relationship Finesse2Tymes had. It started eating away at alliances, tearing apart bonds that were formed long before any paperwork was signed. People who had nothing to do with the business side were getting pulled into the crossfire because the fallout from this mob ties situation did not stay between Finesse and J. Prince Jr. The mess spilled over into friendships, crews, and circles that were already fragile. And once it spread, the damage became something nobody could ignore. It didn't just spill into their business. It spilled into other beefs, other grudges, other run-ins that turned this whole era into one of the most chaotic stretches of Finesse's already unpredictable life. And no relationship got hit harder, more publicly, or more unnecessarily than the bond between Finesse2Tymes and his former label mate, Honeycomb Brazy. To really understand why this fallout cut so deep, you gotta look at how the two even connected in the first place. Their link started the same way a lot of Southern rap connections start, behind the wall. At the time, Honeycomb Brazy was serving time on charges from a 2021 situation linked to a shooting that tragically took the lives of his own grandparents. Meanwhile, Finesse was handling his own federal case. People inside who knew both of them started playing middleman, putting the idea in Finesse's ear. Finesse told the story himself. At first, he didn't even know who Honeycomb Brazy was, but the homies kept talking about this rapper from Mobile who was making real noise. Then Finesse got moved to a facility in Atlanta where phones were more accessible, so he could finally check him out for himself. Once that happened, the connection clicked almost instantly. From there, Finesse's whole circle confirmed the love went both ways, and Finesse always made it clear that the support Honeycomb showed him while they were both locked up was solid. No fake energy, no extra motives. These were two real Southern street rappers who saw each other's grind, respected the struggle, and built a bond through shared survival. Honeycomb Brazy stood firm for Finesse the entire time he was inside. He even turned down a $40,000 feature offer from Moneybagg Yo because he was loyal to Finesse. On top of that, Brazy sent him money, reportedly $1,500. And when someone behind bars sends money out of their own people's pockets to you, it carries a weight no amount of cash can explain. But once Finesse came home in 2022, things went left almost immediately. Honeycomb expected the love to be returned the same way he gave it, and Finesse insisted he wanted to make it right. But the timing was terrible. He described being barely 3 days out of the feds, stepping into an airport like it was a new world, trying to figure out simple things that most people take for granted. Everything was moving fast, he was adjusting, and he was dealing with pressure from all angles. And in that confusion, the expectations and timing clashed, turning a bond built in one of the hardest places on earth into something strained once they hit real life on the outside. And right in the middle of all that chaos, Honeycomb was calling, pushing for money, trying to get things handled, while Finesse was still trying to get his life sorted. That whole moment showed exactly how this beef really started. It wasn't ever truly about the money. It was about timing, pride, and two men from the trenches who didn't know how to say what they needed without ego turning the whole thing into a fire. Finesse eventually sent over some bread, reportedly $1,500 to 2 stacks, and thought that would settle the tension. But the silence came back again, and then Honeycomb reached out asking Finesse to pull up on his mother with some cash. Finesse said he wanted to do it, but he couldn't make it happen immediately because he was stuck in Memphis and the people he called to help weren't available. Then everything spilled into the public and it got messy fast. Honeycomb Brazy dropped a diss track called Why He Lie, painting Finesse as someone who caps and uses people. Finesse responded by trolling Brazy across social media, trying to question his character. Then Brazy's mother, Ms. T, stepped in online to defend her son, and Finesse crossed the line by firing back at her directly. In the hood, going at someone's mother is like touching sacred ground in the worst way possible, and once that happened, things could not go back to normal. Then came the accusations about snitching. Honeycomb pointed at Finesse, claiming FBI surveillance around a 2023 arrest was linked to him. But later, Honeycomb went through his own paperwork, realized the information didn't line up, and took the accusation back. Even with that correction, the damage had already added another layer to the tension. TTE. Naughty broke down the betrayal angle with no filter. He highlighted the moment that had the whole culture looking sideways at Finesse. Honeycomb had turned down real money out of loyalty while Finesse was behind bars. But once Finesse came home, everything shifted in a way nobody expected. That's what had people heated. Naughty summed it up in one clear point. When you sign out of desperation instead of strategy, you usually end up getting played by the same machine you thought you could outsmart. And in this case, the fallout didn't just expose the flaws in their friendship. It exposed the cracks in everything around Finesse2Tymes at the time. Naughty was speaking straight truth on that one. No sugarcoating, no soft landing. But this is where the whole situation flipped in a way nobody on the internet expected. After all the diss tracks, the disrespect, the accusations, the back and forth, Finesse and Honeycomb, Brazy actually ended their beef by late 2025. And the reason they squashed it was simple and painful. They finally realized they had been going at each other, while the real problem was the label that had been working both of them the entire time. B.W.A. Kane made it official when he described a phone call where both artists talked about growth, about maturing, about being done fighting over scraps from a table that was never set up to feed either of them in a real way. They understood the truth. They were never enemies. They were victims of the same machine. But even that moment of clarity didn't slow down the chaos. Other wolves were already circling. Wack 100 went on a public tear against J. Prince Jr., dropping heavy accusations about how the Prince family operated in Houston. Snitching claims from 1090 Jake and DJ Ack kept popping up. 2 with a K even put out a $20,000 bounty for anyone Finesse had supposedly told on. A Memphis Crip named Seti Nash went viral saying he was in the paperwork, and meanwhile Finesse was battling his own set of legal hits. Illicked substance busts in September 2025, October 2025, and January 2026 had him fighting the justice system, the label pressure, old friends turning on him, and the internet's loud opinions all at once. It was like he was running a war on every front, and every direction had someone ready to twist the knife. The streets felt the tension. The blood was in the water, and every shark with a taste for drama started circling the Prince family name. The silence from that side only made the whole situation feel heavier. People were watching, waiting, whispering about what was really going on behind the scenes, which leads to the question everybody keeps asking: what happens now? This is the part most folks in media avoid, not because they don't know, but because they are scared to say it out loud. Content creators start speaking in riddles. Industry people switch to coded language. Even the loudest voices in hip-hop think twice before they press record. Because to fully understand the weight of what Finesse2Tymes is standing in right now, to understand how serious things really are when you see that viral footage of him face-to-face with J. Prince Jr., you have to understand who the Prince family actually is. Not the internet version, not the surface-level story, but the legacy, the influence, and the reach that has shaped Houston for generations. And once you understand that, the entire situation looks different. What the Prince family built over nearly 40 years is the reason so many people in the culture believe that challenging them is not just a bad business move, but something that can shift a person's whole life. J. Prince Sr., born James Prince in Houston in 1965, launched Rap-A-Lot Records in 1986. His goal at the start was simple: to keep his younger stepbrother and the neighborhood homies out of the streets and focused on music. That label grew into one of the strongest forces Southern hip-hop has ever seen, but the business side of Rap-A-Lot always carried a shadow. In the 1990s, the DEA opened a full federal investigation under suspicions that the label was being used as a front for large-scale substance trafficking. They pushed that probe for years, using informants and wiretaps, trying to build a case that never materialized. At the end of it all, not a single charge stuck to Prince. Instead, the two main DEA agents ended up getting convicted for corrupt conduct. Prince called the whole ordeal a racially motivated witch hunt, and when the dust settled, his legend only grew. To many people, he became known as someone the system could not touch. His son, J. Prince Jr., stepped right into that legacy and carried both the power and the aura that came with it. Jr. first made big waves in 2007 when he discovered Drake on MySpace, connected him with Lil Wayne, and helped pave the way to the Young Money deal that shaped modern rap. That move eventually sparked a 2012 lawsuit where Jazz Prince took Cash Money to court for unpaid royalties, later settling for a reported $11 million. So when people say J. Prince Jr.'s name carries weight, they are talking about someone walking with decades of influence behind every move. But the smoke around him stretches far beyond business. On November 1st, 2022, Migos member Takeoff was shot and slayed at a Houston bowling alley during a private event hosted by Jr. Footage later surfaced showing him walking past Takeoff's body, which sparked outrage and theories from every direction. Offset, Takeoff's bandmate, publicly called the Prince family ops, and the whole situation went viral across every corner of the culture. Then came the whispers tied to Duke the Jeweler's passing, with online breakdowns accusing Jr. of setting up the situation during a dice game, even though nothing was verified. In 2023, separate unverified allegations involving trafficking claims started circulating across multiple platforms, adding even more noise to the family's already heavy reputation. And through all of these situations, the Prince family remained silent, never giving the internet the reaction it wanted. This is the family Finesse2Tymes chose to stand against in public view. This is the legacy, the dynasty, the influence he stepped toward when that footage showed him face to face, chest to chest, with J. Prince Jr. And that moment is why the whole internet is watching like something historic just shifted. And this is exactly why people from every corner of the culture are sitting still, watching every move with caution. Wack 100 laid out his own take on what he believes is happening in Houston, connecting dots between the Prince family's operations and a much bigger picture that most folks only whisper about. Then Wack asked the question that a lot of people think but never say, and he made it personal, stating he was done keeping quiet about people he felt were moving foul. When the host pushed back about the way Wack was presenting all this, the tension rose quick. The exchange exposed a truth everyone in hip-hop deals with, the contradictions around the snitch label and how fast it gets thrown around when egos and alliances collide. Meanwhile, as of February 2026, J. Prince Jr. has not uttered a single word in response to any of this. No reactions to Finesse's emotional breakdowns, no comment on the viral footage, no address to the accusations, nothing. And in both the streets and the music world, that type of silence has weight. It carries a pressure that conversations cannot touch. For Finesse2Tymes, the stakes are sitting at their peak. His legal problems keep stacking, from supervised release violations to multiple substance cases, all while federal eyes stay locked on him. A physical altercation with J. Prince Jr. caught clearly on camera is the kind of situation that could send him straight back inside. And that reality hangs over everything he does. Fans keep telling Finesse to lawyer up and fight for his freedom, but that fight is not simple. As long as that contract exists with his name on it, as long as J. Prince Jr. holds control over his catalog and his career, and as long as the Prince family's influence hangs over Houston like a heavy storm cloud that refuses to clear, Finesse remains locked in a battle he cannot escape with a single viral moment. No clip, no trending hashtag, no surge of attention can end a battle that was built on paperwork, power, and history long before the footage hit the internet. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Finesse ever gets free from this deal? Or is he stuck until the contract dies out? You think J. Prince Jr.'s silence is a chess move or a warning? And after seeing the footage with your own eyes, whose side are you standing with? Like the video, share it with the gang, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.